Welcome to Movie News. Let's go over what's been going on in film for the past week. First story today comes from the company Cinema. I'm not 100% sure I'm saying that right, but I think it's close enough. So I've been aware of this company for a couple months now. They launched in February, and they're another movie theater subscription program, such as Moviepass and AMC's A-List. They had several different subscription plans that you could choose from. The lowest starting at $4.99 a month for one movie, and the price just went up from there. Honestly, up until this point, they haven't been much competition, so I haven't even bothered talking about them. But this week, they announced that they are also doing a $9.99 a month plan for 3 movies, and if you're keeping track, that's the same price that Moviepass is charging. So it's kind of a big deal. We have another competitor in the market now. Obviously, they don't have the popularity as Moviepass quite yet, but it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. While we're on the topic of Moviepass, this isn't maybe news, but more just very interesting situation that's happening that I find very amusing. But if you didn't know, with Moviepass, you see 3 movies a month, and after that, you can still see movies with Moviepass. They'll just get you the tickets at a discounted rate. I believe it's like $4 or $5, but I don't have Moviepass anymore, so I'm not sure what the price is. Either way, it's a good deal, and people are taking advantage of it. But this week, it was first revealed that Moviepass sent an email to some of the users explaining that when they do buy a ticket at a discounted price, the receipt might not say Moviepass. In fact, people all over the internet were pointing out that Moviepass wasn't showing up on their bank account, on their receipt. Instead, it was all the same place. The Pecan Grove Motel. So when you buy a discounted ticket with Moviepass, let's say $5, your bank account is going to show up that you paid $5 to the Pecan Grove Motel. So what is the Pecan Grove Motel, and why is Moviepass just denying this as an error? It's not that short of a leap, but everyone is kind of thinking this might be money laundering. Clearly, there are no facts to support that other than this alone. But hey, I'm always up for a good conspiracy, so I'm on board with that. So our top story today surrounds Alec Baldwin. I'm not even sure what to report because it's hard to tell where he stands with this movie. So earlier this week, it was announced that Alec Baldwin would co-star in the new Joker movie. And if you haven't already heard about this, Joker is getting his own movie played by Joaquin Phoenix. But the latest update was that Alec Baldwin was in look to play Bruce Wayne's father in this movie. And I think it was within 2 days, but then all of a sudden it appears that he's not gonna be in this movie. This is what Alec Baldwin specifically said on Twitter about. Let me state for the record that I have not been hired to play a role in Todd Phillips' Joker as some Donald Trump manqué. That is not happening. Not happening. So I don't know if he just didn't want to be associated with playing some Donald Trump billionaire, or if he's hinting that the role in the movie isn't going to be like that at all. But reports are coming out that he's not in this movie at all anymore, so who knows what happened. To go over some new casting that was announced this week, Michelle Yeoh and Awkwafina were announced to star in a new movie together. Details about this movie have not yet been released, but this is obviously coming from their success in Crazy Rich Asians. Christian Bale and Steve Carell were announced that they are going to play Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld in the new movie. In the newest Star Wars movie, announced that they are going to cast Matt Smith as a key role. What the key role is? Stay tuned to find out, I guess. We've talked previously about Quentin Tarantino's new movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This week, he has officially cast Charles Manson, and that's going to be played by Damon Harriman. To get specifically into Dwayne Johnson news, it was announced that Johnson is going to star as Kamehameha in the new movie, The King. This movie is supposed to be a great epic, so I'm excited to check it out. Another movie that Dwayne Johnson was going to be in was supposedly a remake of Big Trouble in Little China. But this week, Johnson announced that this is not going to be a remake, but rather a continuing story of the original 80s movie. To look into some images that we've seen on the web this week, the biggest one comes from Keanu Reeves. He gives us the first image of John Wick 3, and it looks crazy. So this is just coming in now. But Wile E. Coyote is going to get his own movie. Whether this is animated or live action is still yet to be announced, but since we're already getting a Sonic the Hedgehog movie live action, I would really hope that this is too. Speaking of Sonic the Hedgehog, the release date for this movie was pushed up to November 8th, 2019. That's just a little over a year away, so we're getting a Sonic movie really fast. Honestly, this is probably just Oscar bait, so let's just hope it wins Best Picture. In opposite news, a movie that just got pushed back was Top Gun sequel. It just got delayed almost a full year, and we won't see it until 2020 now. Which is going to be an interesting year, because it was just announced in 2020, A Quiet Place sequel is also going to come out. In my opinion, I really hope it's actually more of a prequel, because I don't think that story needs to be continued. But hey, it's a fun universe. We'll see what they can do with it. So let's take a look at box office numbers. As I predicted last week, Crazy Rich Asians again took the #1 spot for the second week in a row. But here's the crazy part. It only had a 6% drop from week 1 to week 2 in box office revenue. Now, if you don't understand what that fully means, let me explain it. For most movies that get a wide release, the first weekend is always the biggest weekend. But to see how much audiences really like it, it really depends how it does weeks 2 and 3. For example, let's say Avengers Infinity War. That movie was going to get a big weekend whether or not the movie was good. Everyone was going to go see it. But how it does weeks 2 and 3 determine if it's actually good enough for people to keep going or for people to tell their friends about it. Most movies go through a about a 30% to 40% drop off between week 1 and 2. Again, this applies to Infinity War, even movies like Star Wars. Pretty much every blockbuster movie that has happened in the past few years have received at least a 20 to 30% drop off. Every now and then you'll get a rare situation, like with Jumanji this past year, where they actually went up 30% week 2 from week 1. Other movies in history that have received a low drop is Avatar, which received about a 1 to 2% drop from week 1, and movies like Forrest Gump, which that was one of the lowest. I think it barely hit 1% week 2 from week 1. So the fact that Crazy Rich Asians only dropped 6% going into week 2 is huge for this movie. The other competition that they have this week is the new movie Kin and also the new movie Searching, but I don't think these are going to compete at all with the box office. So I think Crazy Rich Asians is going to definitely see a third week in a row at being number 1. So that's all I got. Comment below, let me know what you think. Stay tuned for more movie news, and I will see you next time.